So for the podcast discussion, the first podcast that I chose was the one about different options for creating an online community without Facebook. That one caught my eye because I don't like to be limited to just one platform, and honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of Facebook, but it definitely has its pros as well. So it was interesting to hear about other options as far as building a community and promoting a program. What really stuck out to me during that podcast is when they talked about lifetime clients and really instead of trying to get as many subscribers or members for your program as possible, but having also some clients that you really stick with for a long time, even, most of their lifetime. And so I thought that was kind of important because they said that you can maximize your profit if you really stick with those clients and don't dish out more resources just to have more members. So that was an important thing that I thought that stuck out to me, because when you think of making a profit, you think, oh, you have to have as many clients as you possibly can, or you need to get as many people to sign up for a program, but you don't really make as much profit if, you have all these clients, but they aren't really, invested in your program long term. They just kind of sign up for the first trial or whatever. You're really, dishing out a lot of resources for that client, and they're not really returning that investment, so to say. And having those devoted clients can also create a closer knit group of members, and that may, increase social support and really help the members, kind of that quality over quantity. And you can really, dive deep and really invest a lot into their life as well. What also stuck out to me was when he talked about Nudge. I believe he was someone who worked for Nudge, and I thought that was interesting because I had never heard of that program before, and to just hear about different options was a really really good thing to expand my horizons and kind of look at everything that's out there. And that kind of leads me into my second podcast that I listened to, and that was when the two ladies talked about their favorite online tools that they couldn't live without. I thought it was really interesting to hear their opinions on different tools, what they liked about them, what they didn't like about them. Especially when they talked about Canva. They talked about some things that I didn't even know you could do with Canva. And that's some important things to think about, because you don't want your social media platform or your marketing to become kind of boring or the same kind of routine over and over again, unless it works and you're trying to get new people. If you're sticking with the same clients, they might get bored of that. You need to kind of expand your your repertoire as far as design and display and everything, and keep them invested. I was also interested in what they were talking about when they were talking about the digital, I believe it was like accountants kind of that help with email and things like that, and how they talked about how you can stay off your computer as much as possible and really, dive into your actual work, because you don't want to spend all day doing, little things like catching up on email and everything like that. So really kind of prioritizing your time and effort. With the first podcast, I can take that information about other ways to other platforms I can be on, and I can, if I do have a Facebook group, I can do that, but I can also expand my kind of pool of, members and potential members, and kind of do what works best for them. And if Facebook groups don't really fit my clients or how they like to function with the program, I can then change it and try some other things like nudge. And for the second podcast, I can use that information and kind of minimize my effort but maximize the impact, and not spend so much time on the little things like small tasks. She also talked about how the digital accountants and everything, or digital assistant rather, it has its pros and cons, and it can't do everything, but at least it can save that little bit of time or a little bit of effort I could use on something more important or something I want to prioritize. And that can really help me be a more effective health and wellness professional.